Hi everyone. I think most of you are done with your final exams. If not, you're already done with your AS examinations. And that's great. Like y'all finished like extremely important exams, and those who finished their final exam, their A2s or their IBs or whatever it is, y'all did a great exam. But let me be real, like if you don't uh the execute in the next few days or the few next few months rather, your results don't mean anything. Like I'm just being very real and straightforward. Of course, take a break, chill out, and just celebrate in general. But make sure you tune back into figuring out how things go from this point on. I think many kids who will be watching this obviously don't have an idea as to what they should do, and that's completely fine because I believe that most schools don't really give like so much emphasis into what you do after your A levels, after your IBs, or even after AS. As a matter of fact, you're just like left to stay, and all they really, some schools at least, what they really care about, at least my school, what they really care about is like whether you get a good A level result or not. After that, you're just done, like zero contact afterwards. You're literally just like just pushed over, and you're just told to figure things out on your own. And sometimes I believe it's very difficult for some people. I can't say that I did it on my own myself. I think there were so many influences in my life that helped me, and I don't believe that everyone has the same exposure. So I just want to give back to like the kids in this generation, in a way that you guys will figure out what you can do after your exams without wasting time, or you know uh, without taking a bad decision on the school that you go to, the university that you go to, or college that you go to. So I think the first question you need to ask yourself is whether you're going to university in the first place, right? Like, obviously my channel is geared as of now towards university because I believe that I need to get more exposure to the other to like other fields or other avenues. There are so many things that you can do, which I don't have too much expertise on. I'm just gonna be really honest. But I think the first question you need to ask is whether you should go to university and whether university will pay off to you. Because at the end of the day, if I was in Sri Lanka, let's say I didn't get an opportunity to come abroad, I'd really consider going to university. Like I'd actually think twice about going to university because there are different avenues I could take to get into like either the software industry or even like the financial industry. There are many startups taking interns. So like for example, I got an internship like in Sri Lanka. It's not competitive like over here, but I still like got a chance to work as an intern. And like I was the reason why I would even consider like consider doing like think twice about doing a degree in Sri Lanka rather is that like that specific company that I was working at hired a full time like a junior full time like candidate, and they paid the same person the same amount. They paid that person the same amount that they paid me. So I was just wondering, like, you go to like go for like 4 years of university, and then I get paid the same amount. That doesn't make sense. But then again, at the same time, like some people will go to universities in Sri Lanka. Like for example, like if you go to like if you this is if you graduate from like a international school. Some people love to go to like IIT because they have like an internship program. So you get to go in your third year and intern in one of these really good companies like Virtusa or like WSO2 or one of that. Some people love those degree programs. Some people love the University of London degree program because they could like get like a first class or whatever and go to the UK for their masters. Uh, so it really depends. I think first you need to think about whether you're going to university in the first place, whether university will pay off for you, whether university education really helps you with your field. For example, like if you're into like fashion designing, or if you're into like you know me- mechanics in general, you might go to like a college in like for example in Canadian case you might go to college here. So I think you should really sit down and think whether that 4 year degree program is important to you. My thinking process was it is definitely important to me because I need that sound undergraduate education to survive in my industry, to get the problem solving skills that I want. Of course, like as you traverse through university, you realize that you know, like academic work isn't the most important thing, at least in my industry. But still, I think I needed like a good base of an undergraduate education over here. And I think I made a good choice personally for myself. But once again, it doesn't work for everybody. So sit down, and that's a huge question you need to like answer, because there might be another route that might work for you that is not super conventional. Of course, you know, if there is a question about it, we can always discuss back and forth. But I'm saying in general, I think it's very important. Even if you decide to go to university, I think it's very important for you to know whether you're going to university in the first place. Like whether you really want to go to university, and whether that level of education is really paying off for you personally. You know, so that's one thing you should think about. And now I'm gonna shift the conversation into if you choose to go to university, because like I said, I don't know much about too deeply about the other avenues. I will speak about it with time, but I need more maturity to speak about the topic, and I'm not a fan of giving false information. So, if you choose to go to university, there are like a few things you should do. Like, if you're an A student, you need to like draw out a calendar and like plan things out. By now, generally, ideally, like you don't have to be disheartened by this, but generally, ideally, like it would have been nice if you planned out before, because you know you would have had a clear plan. But then again, even now it's nothing's ever too late, so you can always sit down and plan your calendar out and give like specific months, specific priorities. So for example, like you'd have to know, if you for example, if you're applying to the US, you might have to do the SAT examination. If you're applying to like Aussie, you might have to do like IELTS. You know, different, you might have different requirements. Like for example, if you're applying to medical school, you might need other exams. If you're applying to like law school in the UK, you might need like the LSAT, I believe. So there are different examinations. I believe I've already written that down on the content blog. If you ever need the link, you can always contact me. But you have to make sure you have a good plan for the next few months, and you need to check, like I said about these exams, you need to check these exam dates, and you need to draw up a plan of how to prepare for these exams. If you need, I'll definitely copy these links of advice I have for these specific examinations within this video, which you can check out in the comment section. But you need to like plan out how to prepare for these exams, and you need to like plot it out on a calendar. So that's the academic side of things for university, because you're planning like an application. Now I think I'm just gonna be very blunt here. Like there are like two types of, like I guess, like different types of kids. Not two, but there are different types of kids. You know, there's the academic kid who completely focuses his application on like academics, his or her application, apologies, on uh on academics. There's another kid who would focus on extracurriculars and why the kid is special. And there's another kid who focuses on, like, you know, the balance of both and whatnot. So I was trying to be the guy doing the balance of both when I was applying for scholarships, because I thought, you know, that will help me stand out. So of course, I think especially if you're applying to, like, if you're planning to apply to Ivy League universities, if you're planning to apply to scholarships at competitive universities like McGill, Toronto, UBC, Waterloo, uh, this is a Canadian thing, and of course, like, you know, Ivy League Plus, MIT, Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford. If you have all these top tier universities, and if you want to apply to those, you definitely want to consider either prepping up your extracurriculars or having some sort of extracurriculars in the first place. Um, because you need something in that application to like put, right. So I think people should like focus on doing extracurriculars. And now I'm going to shift to people who are taking gap years. I think your approach should be like, you should definitely do other things rather than studying for either the SAT or any other exam you have. if you're like in a if you're applying to like Canada, for example, like you don't even need to worry about the SAT or like any other exams. Generally, your A levels or like your IBs are generally very fine. So definitely focus on extracurriculars if you can. Go volunteer. Make sure you go for it. You can volunteer, you can always intern. Definitely consider interning. Try reaching out to your connections. If you have trouble finding a job, definitely let me know. I can search for you. And yeah, internships, volunteering, if you're into like model UN, that, and any other activity, and even your personal projects, even if it's like forming a startup or anything that just you're passionate about and that makes you special. Now, another disclaimer is, I think many kids who are applying to US, at least from Sri Lanka, as far as I've known, always have this very same portfolio, right? Like you have BDs from MUN conferences, you're good at your academics, and like you have like, I don't know, like music or like something else. But remember to learn how to differentiate yourself from other applicants and your peers, rather than going in the same direction that everyone is going, because there is always a kid who does MUN who has a BD, and BDs are easier to get now. and and the kid who has like, I don't know, like debating, and that kid, like there's always that kid who applies to university, and most of them actually don't get in, because they have nothing too 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 personal, rather. That you can say is a minimum like bar, at least, like because everyone does it. So you should make sure that there is something different about you, and that is portrayed well. So definitely consider different extracurriculars. Thing is, I can't list everything in the world within this video, because there are so many things you can do. There are so many, like you can get creative, which is the point. Like for example, like if you're doing a blog, if you're doing photography, like don't be afraid to like push those out. I for example, like found my own charity based organization. I made the website for it. I did all of that. I raised like funds for it, and I basically became the project manager for that. I ran content. Like next year I was interning, I was coaching, I was teaching, I was a faculty advisor. I was doing all those things. I think I did more stuff I can't even remember, but I was sharing too. So I remember doing like a multitude of things, just like have a really strong application for these universities. But if you're the academic kid, like you need to, if you're for example doing ACE, you need to make sure that your A2s come out really really well. Like for example, like universities in the United Kingdom and even in Australia, like they are very heavy on grades. Like I know like Australia's scholarships, like my friends applied, and what they said is, if you don't have like a 5A star or 6A star, like you're not gonna get that scholarship. But in the US or Canada, it's different. You need to have a good balance. So yeah, you need to act according to the situation. So yeah, that's definitely something you keep in mind. And like I said, I'm gonna once again hop on to um, the last point about differentiating yourself. I think and many people question as to why we have essays, like universities rather have essays. I think I think it's I think that's what actually differentiates one person to another, because your personality is completely highlighted on your application using these essays. So you can be the most talented individual in the world, but if you don't execute on these essays that you get for your respective universities, I don't think A, that you deserve to get in, if you don't like execute on these essays, and B, I don't think that you put yourself in a position to differentiate yourself from other people. What you need to realize is there are so many kids who are applying with so many different talents. So in order to separate yourself from like the herd, you need to learn how to put your thoughts clearly on paper, and put yourself and a representation of yourself clearly on paper. So like obviously this is just an overview of what you need to do. I think the main thing that's extremely important is for you to actually sit down and explore your university options and do research into every single option. Because I think what kids are lacking a lot is they don't make their decisions based on what is good for themselves. Like, you need to sit down and look at every single university and see if the culture, like, corresponds to your style of learning, and if the opportunities you have within that university are going to reflect with what you want in your life. Never apply to the university that's ranked like the highest, or like, that's not important. Like, sometimes the name of the university, like I always say, your name is always bigger than the university's name. So of course, like, it's nice to have like either Stanford or whatever on your resume. Like, for example, like, I would never ever in a million years apply to MIT, because I know that I'm not going to like the academic rigor that is there in that university. But I know a lot of people who'd like it. For example, I would never in a million years apply to NUS. It's an amazing school. It has produced amazing people, but it's not for me. I would never in a million years go to Australia, because I believe that that is a complete comfort zone for me, and I will never ever thrive in an environment like that, because I know so many people there that I'm gonna hang out with these people like all the time, and I'm literally not gonna do anything else because, or meet any other people. Rather, my social circle will still be the same social circle I have, and I'm not that kind of person. Like, I don't like a comfort zone, but some people absolutely completely need a comfort zone to survive. For example, I wouldn't suggest it, but like, you do you, right? Like, some people absolutely love the comfort zone, and some people think they thrive in it. That's completely a personal choice. So these are, I think, like, I will definitely copy a document for you to like have a rough overview. It's a standard procedure for the US kids, but you can definitely implement it in in any university, like Hunt rather. So yeah, and definitely, like, of course, like, I think kids applying to Australia can always rely on agents, but I think in general, like, you should do your own research. I wouldn't suggest educational agents in Sri Lanka. They're always trying to rip you off. So you can always kind of sit down, do your own research, go to the websites, actually know what's going on, rather than just randomly applying to universities that you have no clue about, right? So I think, and always remember that these educational agencies always have like commissions and all sorts of like jing bang going underneath. So I think whatever time you use to invest in yourself, you can always benefit from that. And like I've said before, there's a mentorship program that a couple of my friends and myself run, called Simplicity, where we can connect to mentors. And obviously we don't have connections to any of these, like, direct connections to any of these universities, but we have kids who are in those universities, and kids who are willing to help you get to the places that you want to. So I think this is the mindset that you need to have when applying to, like, when thinking about university. Like, obviously detailed articles should be written about this, and detailed procedures should be written about this. But if you have this mindset of planning things out, having a mindset of working on things other than your academics, and even if you're working on your academics, to make sure that you need to prioritize them more than the other aspects of your life. If you have these kind of things in mind, and if you know how to choose your university, for example, and do your own research into your specific universities, I think it really helps. So I think if this helped with your mindset evolving, I think you're gonna go a long way anyway. And if you need specific advice, you can always reach out, or you can definitely DM, call, text, email, whatever it is, you can definitely do so. But yeah, it's basically it from me today. And if there's anything at all, you know what to do.